Okay, we are live. Not yet recording. 1 second. Okay, almost. 3, 2, 1. Hello, and welcome everybody to, where is my notes, what to say in the beginning. Welcome to the Non-Intuitive Beat podcast brought to you by the Leaders Club. Yes, that's the line that you are also part to. If you're listening to us, but do consider pledging a membership by joining Discord channel, link in the description. And today in this virtual studio we have Dmitry Manarikov. Say hi to people.
Hello.
And as usual, the most annoying voice would be me, Slava Kavleski. Oh, I was running so fast.
I haven't done podcast in a month.
Yes. Yep. Usually we would have 10 people listening. Now we have 2 in the beginning. And it goes to 20 or 30, but when we're doing each week, and it literally correlates. The less frequently we're doing it, less people actually watching in the beginning. Oh well. Now we just lost Dmitry. Oh well. Now he's back again. I thought you heard 3 people, like, oh, it doesn't worth my time.
No, for some reason I pressed enter because I wanted to change notes, and for some reason my Google Meet stopped closed. I have no idea why.
Okay. We have in my current company, we have a mandatory restart of Chrome when the new version is coming, and it will tell you, oh, restart in 2 days, in 1 day, in 2 hours. As you can imagine, no one doing it until in the meeting, boom, someone disappears.
My favorite one is mandatory OS update. It says like 20 minutes, then you start updating and it's like more than 1 hour.
Yes. I guess they have fixed Windows copy dialog, but they have not fixed progress bar of updating. So we have tons of this stuff to cover today. I don't think we'll cover everything. And you added a bunch of the topic in the beginning, so let's start there. And what is the voice and history lessons with Judge-GPT?
Oh, I think I just made the wrong note. So I finally get this new voice mode in ChatGPT. There was initially voice mode, but now it's different. It's more, I would say, better. And I think the main difference now, you can actually interrupt ChatGPT. So you can ask questions, it will start answering you with voice, but you can interrupt. And I don't use it much for day to day. I usually just type things I need, especially for coding. But you remember my previous use case when I'm just sitting in a car, and this is perfect for talking about history or some a science topics, because you often can go very wide, saying hey, what is history of Philippines? And it gives very huge outlines. And then you're oh, there was war with the United States. Can you tell me more about this? What was the outcome? What was the reasons? Oh, you mentioned this person. And you can interrupt. So it's really, really cool way to get more information. And I actually want to try another use case. Right now I'm reading a book which has a lot of not terminology, but English words that I don't know. And I would like to actually ask about this. And I want to read a book and in parallel just talk to ChatGPT. I actually realize I want a product which is ebook or regular book where I can tap my finger on a word and ask ChatGPT, hey, tell me more about this topic or this paragraph, and ChatGPT or whatever should have a full context of a book and this particular place. I think that would be killer feature on any ebook reader or iPad app that I would use. And I would even pay for that.
Yeah, I 100% agree. And the first thing that comes to mind as you were describing this is almost the first days of discovering Wikipedia. when you're reading the article without finishing. Oh, let's click here. Oh, I will go there.
Exactly. But for books, it should be very handy. It's like you read, especially for like kind of tutor books or like science books, when you actually have like someone who understands the topic and can help you. So yeah, I'm waiting when companies start to implement this.
Oh, 100%. And by the way, on the Kindle, they have this, even on the Kindle reader, I'm not speaking about the app on the iOS, you can highlight the word and there will be sub-menu that give you different options. Define, see the vocabulary, translate. This is commonly used by me. So that is replaced with ChatGPT. Describe to me.
Same like in iOS, right? Like, or you can select any word and say describe. It gives like definition. But I would like to have not just word. I'm just like, in this particular book, this particular section, like explain me better.
Mm-hmm. Makes sense. That reminds me one topic that I quickly added. Okay. So what else? Anything else that you want to share with our listeners about the advanced mode?
I think no, that's my use case mostly, like ones that I didn't use before and ones that I didn't use in a text mode. So I'm not like sitting and in front of ChatGPT and asking random questions about history, but in a voice it seems pretty natural. So yeah.
That makes sense. Okay, so let's move forward. There was something I wanted to say about this specific part. Oh, no, that actually was yet another topic I realized I want to add. Okay, we have a bunch of the things around games, book, movies. I also added tons of the movies and comics and games to cover that. But obviously, let's go chronological order. I do remember you told me about Resident Evil on the iPad and Resident Evil Village. Yes, this is Resident Evil 7, right?
I think so, yeah.
Oh, yeah, yep.
Yeah, I was playing on iPad. I have iPad Pro 2, I think. Oh, like iPad Pro and M2. And the game works really well there. I mean, like, for me, it was just like miracles that I can actually run full like fledged game on a small iPad. And it was pretty good. I'm almost finished it. I need to like finish one boss. But yeah, it's now like iPads and get actually like pretty good gaming. It's not something I would like to play at home, but you know, like I was sitting in a plane and just being able to play AAA game was pretty cool experience, I would say. And the game itself is really good.
Yeah, the game is really good. And I now wonder, so because it's working on iPhone and iPhone has a HDMI display port, I wonder if I can easily connect it to my TV and just try to play it with a joystick and see how it works.
You can definitely play on iPhone, so I don't see why can't you custom TV?
Yeah, I guess the question in my mind that I wonder, is it on par with the experience on the, let's say, Xbox, which is not the latest GPU?
I'm pretty sure iPhone won't be as good as Xbox, but for many games it may not be really important.
Yep. Man, there is so many news about the gaming, and I just realized that I have yet another one. I'm going to quickly add it to the list.
Now you pick next topic.
Okay, so since we speaking about movies and games and comics, books, I want to share several interesting things about the comics. I recently started reading comics, and I am for some reason I'm not a comics person. And not that I hate comics, it just was never something that I got used to. And I spent several weekends in Santa Cruz, small village by the ocean, and they have a really nice, cozy comic shop. The good old comic shop. And I visited several times, and obviously one time I walked in, I asked, what would you recommend? We chatted with several guys who were selling there, and they recommended me several series to start. And oh man, that was what they gave to me, just completely... I don't know, how should they say it's You know that feeling when you pick up a book and suddenly it's so good that you cannot wait to read more until it's finished. And so that would happen to me with several comics series. And even though I don't have any biases to comics. I read several of them, nice ones. So what they gave me was Nice House by the Lake. That was probably the first that they suggested. That was started my journey to the modern, I would say, comics. And this is a really nice story. And the story, I will try not to spoil. I will give part of the story to the listeners, but it's an really early. It's a very first comic, so there is really no spoilers there. So imagine if I would be asking you, my friend, how do you think the world will end? And you will give me the answer, and then you will forget about this. And 5 or 7 years later, we meeting with a bunch of friends somewhere on the lake house, really nice house on the lake in the middle of the nowhere. And in the evening, everyone suddenly realizing that the world actually have ended around. Mm-hmm. And the way how it ended resembles small parts of the answer that each of the person on this invited to that house have in their answers.
There should be at least like a zombie apocalypse, no?
No, that's you would think so, but no. But yes, you would think so, and that was also on my mind. And the interesting part, so what I realized that all the comics, they usually got published as books after the series would end. One book usually have 6 comics, and then you will have a book 1, book 2, depending on how many of those. And the Nice House on the Lake actually just have ended. So there is actually 2 books, number 1, and there is book number 2. And the author releasing next series that called Nice House by the Sea.
Are they connected or just like a separate or parallel?
They are connected. So in a way, the first one shows the full end-to-end story that creates the universe in which we can have many other continuations, and this is like a continuation, the same universe with the same set of rules, so to speak, that universe defines. And this one right now in progress. So I ordering as they issuing these comics. It's so interesting that, old feeling that you rarely get when you're waiting something because it hasn't been released, a book or film or TV series. This came in comics, and you're just waiting for something to arrive in your mailbox. I don't know. There is something to it.
I think this is a good feeling. It's a bad one when you have like a half season or something. Then you just wait for next one.
Yeah, that's true. And the last comic that I want to mention, because while I'm waiting this one, obviously I start looking what else is there on the similar note, because the good thing that you never was exposed to part of the particular culture, particular interesting things, is that you have missed the best of the best.
Yep, you can just start with like a top of the list.
Exactly, yes. So obviously I like horrors, so I Google what is on the top of the horrors, and what I found is the nice series, Something is Killing the Children. Amazing thing that also would highly recommend. So it's surprisingly long, and looks like it follows the same pattern, saying that they have one logical story they finish in the first 3 books, but there is, I think, 9 books, and they still keep releasing it. So it's a mix of something that's been around for a long time and something that they restarted at the same time. In fact, it became so good that Netflix is creating a show. The show will be released quite soon in the next quarter. That especially piqued my attention because I wanted to read it first, and especially that everyone talking about this. And yes, it is really, really good as well. So I finished like 9 comics or something, and this is just the 3 books, and I waiting 5 or 6 more to arrive, and then I will switch to new development.
So you're like submerged into comics universe.
Yes, absolutely.
Probably I'll just we'll start picking books from you.
Yep. Gladly will share. By the way, nice house by the lake, already waiting until it will be delivered to you. So yes, that's
okay.
Last thing I want to mention about the comics is iOS Kindle. Kindle app is an extremely good app for reading comics. I did not expect that.
Does it have every popular comics or just some of them?
Obviously, that I don't know because I'm reading the most popular right now, and of course it is there. But what I really like about this is they actually have redesigned the whole experience of reading comics. So back in the day when I X years ago actually tried with comics, it was giving you an experience of just the classical reader. You're just reading any other book. Now they actually capable of understand on the page which picture goes in which sequence, and they don't show you a page at all. They show you exact picture in the orders. And even more, they're doing a fantastic job. Time to time, you might have a picture on the full page, but it's still trying to steer your attention to a particular part of that picture. Mm-hmm. And they actually know it, and they when you're doing swipe, they will show you a small part, you will read it, and then you're doing swipe, and they will zoom out to the full page to show you the full
I think
thing.
I've seen this similar on a Marvel Comics app some time ago. I'm pretty sure it's not AI. I'm pretty sure someone just manually selected these pieces.
Nowadays, I think we should be saying, I'm pretty sure quite recently at least, it was not yet an AI. But now I'm sure there is a project somewhere to take LLM and convert all the comics to this format.
That's true. But also the question, will it be cheaper? How much it will be cheaper and how much quality? But yeah, it makes sense to convert.
Anyway, that's all from my side of comics. Now, in the best tradition, let me ping pong back to you, my friend. What do you want to cover next? We have many films, games, tons of this stuff.
Yeah, I'll try to whatever I actually finished and not just upgrade. So I finally finished Dostoevsky book, Brothers Karamazov. And I was very impressed by the book because usually if you think Dostoevsky, you think about something very dark, very gloomy, and something very depressing. And this book actually was very different. First, it was very engaging. Maybe it's my age now that I'm start interested in such literature. But I think it was very kind and gave me a lot of self-reflection, which is not happening often with books. And one, I think, main lessons that I would like to get from this book is to not to judge people. I think that was really something to think about, how I judge people, especially when people have a different experience that I have or people different from me. So yeah, I was very impressed and like it a lot. And I think I want to read more Russian classical literature. At the same time, half year ago, I tried Tolstoy War and Peace. And after one book, I'm nope. Maybe in 10 years, but Dostoevsky was pretty good to read.
Makes sense. You see, the first Google answer is how to read the Brother Karamazov by Dostoevsky. Isn't that left to right, top to bottom? What is it?
Yeah. It's quite type of the book. If you read a book, it's actually a very short period of time. Mm-hmm. But book describes a lot of people interactions, their emotions, what's happening, and it actually takes a lot of space if you think about it. Because usually books try to jump, but this one goes very detailed on every interaction.
Classical Dostoevsky, so to speak. Okay.
Yeah. In other thing, which actually, I never was very into Russian Soviet Union history. I knew main parts from school, but one thing would surprise me. In 19th century, where book is staying, after slavery is abandoned, it actually had Russia has pretty good a social system. People were very care about justice a lot, how court is done, how trials are done. It was very verbose and people try to actually be better. And it's interesting because for me, before Soviet Union, there was nothing. And during Soviet Union, there was no social system at all besides what government applied. So it was very interesting to learn like from this book.
Interesting. Okay. I'm not sure I ever have read it. I do not know. Maybe. But if I did, it was so long time ago that I obviously don't remember anything.
Yeah, I remember school was only like a Crime and Punishment, and that was pretty dark and gloomy, and we didn't have this one.
Crime and Punishment, of course. Yes, of course. That was school program. Okay. What else in the mind? I don't have any comics because I haven't read it.
Your turn.
I see the game you're playing. Okay, so I'm looking on what to... let's actually switch for a second, then we'll come back to films and movies and different things. I wanted to tell a little bit of my perspective on the Tesla self-driving event that have happened.
Did you watch it like fully?
It's short. It's like super short event. So yes, I did watch part of it. Sorry. Here is why I'm saying part of it. It was so short that I felt there is another video that should be much longer somewhere.
But there's nothing.
Yeah, looks like there is nothing, yes. And to be fair, there is nothing because apart from the event, they actually did the fully self-driving trips in between section of that huge building. So for listeners who have not seen that, Tesla have unveiled the taxi, self-driving taxi. It is a two-seater car plus a van. And you can Google all this. I will give you my perspective of what I have noticed because I've been in the industry of self-driving cars, and I noticed one thing that made me feel that Elon Musk is actually serious about self-driving. And specifically, he mentioned that we're starting in a small limited set inside of San Francisco and Texas, which means that he finally learned what is ODD, and ODD stands for Operational Design Domain. This is something that all manufacturing, car manufacturers who are actually doing self-driving level 4 and above are aware about. And this is a very limited set of conditions under which you can do truly self-driving. Usually you have to start legally very small, very constrained geographical location, usually even several streets, very constrained environment in the sense of no fog, no rain, things like that.
Also daytime, right? Like
daytime. Exactly. Yes. I think it's something like 1 hour after the sunrise and 1 hour after the sunset, no later than that, and 1 hour before the sun. So there is some ruling there. So yes, daytime, as you pointed out, many different things, and this is the first thing. So this actually makes me optimistic because looks like he in the game now. He understands that he actually doing real self-driving, because that's the reason why no one believed in Elon Musk. There was a legal way to do it and he was not doing it. But the second part that I'm really eager to see what he will be doing is the model. Today, he obviously, because he was not doing true L4, he opted in a much simpler way of doing self-driving, where he has a unified end-to-end neural network. Signals in, controls out. This kind of simplifies a little bit way to train the model. You have one model, you can simplify the training, simplify the quality control. But the downside, today legally, you do require to provide some level of explainability. And the way how it's done, you usually would have a lot of neural networks that would map environment, for example, perception, that would look and see, okay, here is a lights, here is a road, here is a bicycle. It will translate it to very simple logical objects, and then in between you will have almost a state machine. That is a normal program that defines what to do under circumstances.
Right?
Exactly, yes. Because in this case, you not only can define explainable logic, you also can put a hammer that says that if you see something on the distant blah, stop. And that hammer is there as a rule, a logical rule in a program that cannot be disobedient, and then it just will work. So in case of Elon Musk, he opted an alternative path that none of the manufacturer did exactly because of the requirement from the lawmaker of explainability. So either Musk will be Musk and he will force the law to change, which is actually absolutely possible.
He didn't spend like how many, 45 millions on Trump campaigns for no reason.
Oh yeah, yeah, actually, yes.
If he fires everyone who is like doing this governance of automakers because they just spend taxpayers' money, problem solved.
You're absolutely right. Maybe, conspiracy theory. He is actually campaigning exactly because he need to change the law because he invested in a different model. Or he will to adjust the model. And reality is somewhere in between, in the sense that you can add these hammer rules on a side and make them work together somehow, then adjust the law a little bit. So I'm pretty sure it will be somewhere in between the hybrid mode and between two of those. But yes.
Plus, who knows? Maybe there will be like some theoretical ways to actually use like one giant neural network, and do explainability with it in future. I actually have a question. So do you think Tesla has advantage? Obviously, they're lagging behind, technically, they don't have anything like Waymo. But do you think the fact that they already have many Teslas on the road with a bunch of cameras that collecting data as an advantage?
So it might. Obviously, I'm not a part of Tesla. I don't know many of the details. It might, but to me, it is unlikely. And the reason why I'm saying that it's unlikely, they do not stream, to the best of my knowledge, and they do not transfer all your data. So they still have an agreement they can collect the data, but the way how it works, they will design a special algorithm that will try on your car to distinguish the maneuver that they care about. And then only for that maneuver, they will send the data back to the mothership. So this actually allows them to mine some of the maneuvers, but the turnaround time is extremely slow. It needs to be embedded as the next update of the car, and then it needs to start sending data. So unless they will figure out the way how, for example, you will agree to stream to them your camera feed 24/7 and they will mine all of your data, that data is almost useless.
I see.
But again, I'm trying to be careful. You're the Tesla owner. You probably want to read terms of service because maybe this is exactly what they're doing already. They're streaming 24/7.
Not streaming. I mean, you can enable, or I don't think there's a streaming, but you can enable telemetry. I don't know what's included. Also, they have interesting, every time you disengage autopilot, manually, it actually shows you prompt, hey, press a button and tell us what's wrong. If you've seen some maneuver in front of, I never use it, but maybe some people actually use it, because my understanding, when you do it, it actually can send short period of information and also your comment, what happened and why you disengaged.
Yes, that is true. And this is why I'm so a little bit pessimistic, because the most valuable data comes from the point where you collect all the data from your fleet, and then you would have a mining algorithm on top of it. Mm-hmm. And quite often, this is similar problem to cryptography. Let's save everything. Later on, we will decrypt and we'll figure out very similar things. You're collecting so much data, and then there would be a huge team just working on one specific problem. How we can
AI?
Yeah, okay. Yes. Yes. How we can mine a particular signals? Let me give you an example. You want, for example, find the cases where car not following the line on the road. So it intrude in different line. But you will have so many cases where it actually intent of the car to invade another line because it needs to take over or it needs to do something. And now you need to understand higher level intent and only find the cases there was no intent to. And this intent is horribly hard because of how much data you have. And to give you a perspective of the data, none of the company, to the best of my knowledge, who owning the fleet, I'm not speaking about Tesla, I'm speaking about self-driving, none of the companies actually streaming this. They literally have tons of the hardware. They manually removing from the car daily to upload the data because it's just impossible to stream that size of the data. Now, obviously, with Tesla, you not only cannot do so, you're limiting to a very particular small amount of maneuvers. The rest of the data is just lost because it's not stored anywhere, it's not streamed anywhere. So I really do not know. Theoretically, these maneuvers, the small maneuvers that they're getting from the environment that Waymo and Cruise doesn't drive at all. So it's a new data that they can collect. But from the other hand, I honestly don't think they have a lot of data.
I see. Okay. So we'll see how they will develop it.
Yes, I'm extremely excited that we have new players on the market. But yes, we will see. We will definitely see. By the way, I'm not a financial advisor, but I do believe that Tesla is underpriced right now on the market, highly. Okay, back to you, my friend. What do you want to cover?
I only have like a half entertainment. I mentioned another book, Good Strategy, Bad Strategy. It's more like how it's called, business book, I guess. I think it's like, for me, like as a software engineer, it was somehow practical advices. It's about how you craft a strategy, and it's partially related to business, partially related actually for my job as well. I would say pretty good. It's very cheap now because it's like old book, and it gives good practical advices. And plus there are like a lot of examples, like about like companies, like what they did wrong, what they did good, like how people craft strategy. So I think it's like everyone who going to like any leadership position, that could be really good read. And it's not a big book, it's not a hard to read, so can recommend.
One thing that comes to mind constantly for me quite often. So let's assume for a second. I was thinking how to provide any evidence for what I'm about to say, but I don't have to. I just realized it's a podcast. So let's assume for a second that what I'm saying is true. So imagine that you have a threshold for the strategy to have a decent chance to succeed, and the rest is just luck and chance and nothing more. And to get to that threshold, you obviously need to be hardworking, need a hardworking team, and need to have some decent level of common sense. And the rest is just chicken shit. Or the moment you getting to that good enough, the rest is so much luck. And then you have a bias, survivorship bias. Everyone looking, that guy did this amazing thing. In reality, common sense, yes, you need it. You need to be working hard because, as military often say, plan is nothing, planning is everything, which means constantly reassess, constantly adjust. That's about it.
Yeah, but I think like if you think about for you, it's obvious, right? Like you work in management position, you probably crafted like strategies, so like you did a lot of planning. But for people who never did it before, this can be just like a good starting point to get at least terminology. So for me, it was just, again, I'm not saying like I read this book and now I can like create my own company like that goes like beat Tesla. But for me, it was just like a good way to have at least starting scaffold that I can evaluate like what we are planning in a company, what I'm planning for myself. So yeah, it was, again, maybe for someone who already did it, it doesn't make a lot of, it doesn't give a lot of new experience and knowledge. But for someone who never did like strategy or something, it may be still helpful.
I didn't want to undervalue the book, or I highly suggest, because I definitely trust your judgment. It's just more an interesting observation. It's by the way, very similar, in my humble opinion, with engineering. And what I mean by that, I would love to hear your take on this. I found that it's really unadvisable to have a really strong, proactive, experienced tech lead on the more than one such tech lead on the project that requires 5 to 6 people. And the reason being that, again, you only need a really decent common sense, and a really strong TL with a lot of experience can provide you that common sense. And after that, there is almost infinite amount of paths to take. And if you have two such TLs, they would never agree. They have different philosophy, different takes.
I think there is another, like, there should be one person with authority who can stop some bad decisions, like crazy decisions that can lead everything go down. Because, like, sometimes people excited, especially engineers, with a solution or with technology or with ideas, they're so excited they don't see all pitfalls, risks, and problems. And that's why you need, like, experienced TL who'd say no, like, it's not going to work.
I agree with you 100%. But what I was referring is when you have two such TLs, so there is no craziness. It's just two TLs that have a lot of experience, and what quite often you will witness, they will have a conflict of thinking or desires that they will say, oh, it's completely wrong to go left. Well, in reality, sure, it's wrong under some circumstances, but no one can guarantee that these circumstances will materialize on this project. It doesn't mean that you shouldn't be reading books about architecture or about things, but at the same time, when you see that people have completely orthogonal thinking how to proceed, and you can clearly see that both of them can lead it to success, you just need to pick one. You start questioning usefulness of the wisdom that humanity collected. And again, this doesn't preclude you from reading all the books, collecting tools, making your mind, because it's clearly making your own mind is important. I just don't know. It's an interesting topic.
I actually remember, I think a book actually covers this part. Like, it actually doesn't say there's like one ideal strategy. There are like many of them, and execution is also important part, because you can spend as much time as you want just on a meeting, alignments, like writing down, but until you have actions that you start doing, it's not really working.
Yep, one of the in the managerial toolbox, there is several simple tools that should help the team to start moving forward faster. One of them, if you're observing that the team over discussing particular,
telling them you will be fired if you know that.
It's a good one. I cannot comment on that one, but putting that aside. One of the tricks always in the books is to say, okay, so I hear what you're discussing. Here is decision that I will make tomorrow by noon if you will not decide among yourself. And usually the key here to outline decision that's really bad. And then
you are fired.
Oh yes, then the manager is fired. Yes. Okay, am I correctly predicting that you will give me back the decision to pick the next topic?
Yes.
Okay, I want to cover several movies. I have watched at least 4 movies recently that I would love to share. The first one is Master of the Skies. Not Disguise, Master of the Skies. And Master of the Sky. Sorry, Master of the Sky. So this is... have you watched Brotherhood?
Not sure.
So Brotherhood is around... let me find... the Band of Brothers. Sorry, not the Brotherhood.
Oh yeah, that one I think I've seen a long time ago.
Yes, so this is one of the best ever made TV series. To listeners, I must say the IMDb rating on this one 9.4. So this is one of the top, and I highly recommend. This is about Second World War and based on the memoirs, and really realistic book. Really realistic movie based on the books. Highly recommend. The same team later did Pacifica. So Pacifica was slightly less popular, but Pacifica, right? Pacifica War series. I'm pretty sure Pacifica War. So The Pacific Oracle, no, the Pacifica. Okay, so the Pacifica, obviously 8.3, no more than 9, but it's still 8.3. It's freaking amazing movie. So this is about that same formula, same team. And by the way, one of the producers here is Tom Hanks on both of the movies. And it cost a lot. Band of Brothers cost a fortune for HBO to produce. The Pacifica cost a fortune, and have not collected as much value and money as the Band of Brothers. I don't know why. It's still amazing, even though it might be arguably slightly, little bit more worse. So after that, and comparing how much money they had to spend to film it on the cast, on the team, Tom Hanks is one of the producers. He called a fortune. So HBO did not do anything for quite some time. Now the Apple TV have bought everyone, all the team members, and they even have hired Tom Hanks, and they use the exactly same formula, and they created Masters of Master of the Sky 2014. No. Master.
Hire someone who came up with more unique names.
Yes, maybe Master of the Air, or something like that. Yes, Master of the Air. Yes. So this is the one, 2024. As you can see, 7.8, it's a little bit less than Pacifica and noticeably less than Band of Brothers, but again, it's 7.8. It's rarely you will see the TV series with that rating. Again, the exactly same formula. They have not changed the formula. They took the same approach. Memoirs, books of someone who've been there, real stories, on top of the amazing team. Tom Hanks is the producer, and they created the TV series. Highly recommend. Amazing. If you like the TV, if you have not seen the TV show that I mentioned, I would highly recommend to see it.
Okay.
It is, like you pitching some movie that was created by the Breaking Bad team, but if suddenly someone haven't watched Breaking Bad, you would say, drop my suggestion.
Just watch originals.
Exactly. Yes. I must say it's still good. So yes, Band of Brothers is probably the best, but the difference between 7.8 and 9 something honestly is not that big if you might think. It's not as big of a difference as between 6 and 9.
I see, I also see this thing with IMDb. All TV series, when they're good, they have higher rating, because back then there was not that many good TV shows. Like in general, you didn't have that variety. Like if something goes on TV, you watch it, and if it's good, you're very excited because you have one per year, a good. And now people don't go back often to watch old TV series; they watch new one. But because we have such more variety and competition, the whole scale of this ratings skewed a bit towards lower part.
That might be, but I strongly believe that the good amount of films and TV series have not changed. We just start producing more bad ones, but the good ones still the same.
Maybe, but when I looking at The Wire, old TV show, was very good, but I don't sure why it has such a high ratings. And maybe again because back then it was one of the few really good shows. You can't really compare. But now when we look back, we have Breaking Bad, we have other things, and when you watch something new, you compare to these things. But maybe just my theory.
That might be, your theory might be true. One thing I want to mention that keep in mind, IMDb rating are different for films and TV series.
That's true.
And for TV series, they have very weird, they noticeably different in the way how they assess it, at least in my view. I have seen so many TV series that I don't think are good enough, but they have IMDb rating. With a film, it's almost never happened for me. Even the old one, you can... Actually, no, I'm full of shit. No, there is many old movies, but they're still good. It's really hard to pinpoint. Okay, there was a black and white, no sound movie, but it was good and was 9 dot something. Should you reduce the rating just because it's no longer modern.
I don't think you need to reduce. I think it's fine. Plus, you always have comments. Again, I'm not saying it's becoming bad because now it's like a better movie. So just like people back then have a different. Plus, I think for movie it may be a bit better situation because you probably okay to rewatch old movie because it's like small time commitment, but you're not committing to like 10 season series like from 16 like often.
But you know, I think you're actually up to something. I think you're actually exactly right. And here's my reasoning where I think you got it absolutely right. In the TV series, there was a step function before that completely split it on before and after. And I think that step function was Breaking Bad. And I think before Breaking Bad, it was overall in the industry, the prevailed thought was it's okay for the TV series to be bad because it was for different audience. I think Breaking Bad was the first step function that said, no, we can have a film quality level for the TV series.
And now imagine like before that, right? Like TV series was like something you consume at home from TV, like you don't really like engage that much. You watch like once per week, and then someone show you like Band of Brothers, and like, wow, it's like a movie, but it's TV show.
Mm-hmm. Yep. Okay, so let's keep rolling with these things that I wanted to show because the rest will be much shorter. I promise. It's much worse, much worse. So one of my favorite horror movies, Hell House. And Hell House is, by the way, please don't tell me that I have a horrible taste in horror movies because Hell House is a horrible movie. I would not recommend you Hell House. It's just, I have a genre. I love genre of, this find horror real videos where they showing you the tapes of real person. And obviously the Blair Witch was the first one to introduce the genre, but it was not exactly find tapes. It was like documentary and find tapes. And honestly, there is not that many movies in that genre. There's just not. And Hell House, the first one, is a decent movie. It has 6.4, but I dare you folks to find me something better that was modern in that genre. There is like almost nothing. Unfortunately, it's all bad, and Hell House I would considering decent out of modern 2015, so like, almost 10 years ago. Now, because of that, I watched the whole series, and it's getting worse. Like each series is getting worse and worse, but I just cannot stop watching them. And turns out they have released the Hell House 4. And by the way, here is a whole. Let me give you the whole rundown of what you should expect there. So the whole Hell House is the idea that the group of teenagers organizing the Halloween ride inside of the old hotel, and this hotel become possessed or something, and everything comes to that opening night on the Halloween when all the people dies, and it's from the perspective of how they're showing it's quite cool. The first one, and I just realized that they filmed the fourth one in 2023. I haven't paid attention because in the third chapter they actually burned down the whole hotel, so I said there will be no anything else. It was already bad, like it was really bad in the third chapter, but suddenly I saw they have fourth chapter. So let me ask you this: when you see, so forget everything that I told you about, it's actually irrelevant, but when you have film name X and then you have a film name X Origins, what do you think it's about? Like, what first comes to your mind?
How it's all started?
Exactly. Yes, it's like prequel, okay. Right? Or how it started.
Yeah.
No, it's just chapter 4 that happens after everything burned down. Like it's
okay.
Yeah.
I mean, they just need to drop a time loop in the next episode, so it will be fine.
To be fair, they did have some. So they have to. They showed a new mansion because their hotel burned down and everything happened. New mansion, and they have to connect it somehow. And in order to connect, that give you some story that's from the past of the origins of the Hell House. But it's so like it's just little. It's nuisance on the terms of the film. So yeah. Anyway, let me pick the last one. I promise I have the first one, but it's not worth mentioning today. A Quiet Place Day 1. I have watched this one. If you haven't watched Quiet Place, it's a decent horror movie about the aliens that attacking the humankind, and they killing everything based on the sound. So they don't have eyes, they only have hearing, and you need to stay quiet. The whole premises, the whole things. And Quiet Place Day 1 is effectively how everything started. Anyway, if you like horror movies, it might be okay to watch because there is no good horror movies have been released recently. I didn't like it much. Quiet Place, the first one was okay-ish. This one, no, not so much. One thing that I really hate about those movies, when you have a prequel, Day 1, honestly, I really, really want to see the movie that shows how humanity actually responds, how they're dispatching military, how the military struggles, how the government falls, the last moments of government.
What they show?
They show some people who are effectively going through the New York and stuff happens around them, and you really don't know. You see the military blog posts completely abandoned, but you have no idea what happened, how it happened, and to that extent, I really like reading a lot of memoirs from the World War II, but from the German side, because you quite often will see this agony and struggle of the last battles. So there is a book that describes, for example, last battle of Luftwaffe, when before that battle there was Luftwaffe, after that battle there was no Luftwaffe. It was the end, and they still put last battle, so to speak. And there is something fascinating in the stories, how the last attempt to survive or to ditch the attack, and it's just interesting. There is something to it, and I would love to people to capitalize and feel the movie, how the humanity falls under the aliens, but how they would react, how they try to nuke it or whatever, and nothing.
Yeah, I think it's like topic because especially there's not many movies or like media about like, when it's completely done. I remember only one anime I watched like 20 years ago when like in the end everyone dies. Like not in like a huge blowout of like a very prosaic, very like not even dramatic, like just the last guy just like slowly bleed out and that's it. That was and since then I never seen anything like that.
Yes, right? Like there is, I don't know, there is a huge gap. Maybe there is just no audience, and
I think people usually want to see some positiveness, most of the time.
But you can have a positiveness. The good example could be what was that about the world with aliens? This was from the author of from the famous book about War Between Worlds, movie, and Tom Cruise was there. Yes, War of the Worlds. Yes, War of the Worlds is a really good example based on the book.
But in the end, like everyone survived.
Sure, I'm not speaking about the. I don't care about not necessarily the bad, good ending. I more care about such interesting cases like, how can I describe? So majority of the famous fantasies, they take a normal human being and they put it in a fantasy world. That's why you can relate to that person, and you can relate to the person under unusual circumstances. So I want to see how humanity overall, movie that will show to me how the military, social institution will perform under, let's say, alien invasion. how the military will be dispatched, how they will react, because you have tons of the war movies that show you how they will be reacting, dispatching under terrorist war. Sure, but what about?
There was like a few like Independence Day, but it was mostly like heroic type of movie.
Good example, but you see, even the fact that you're watching the movie that was filmed when the Independence Day was filmed, 1996.
That's true.
1996. Jesus, but yes, it's a good example.
There was another one. I don't remember the name. It was like not very good. It was like a squid type enemies. I was like military trying to fight them in San Francisco, something.
Yes, something.
You probably seen it, but it's like it was so bland that like you don't really remember anything from it.
I think something like that does rings a bell, but I don't remember exactly what it is.
By the way, about horror movies, have you seen Bird Box?
I'm pretty sure this is about blind people. Of course. Yes. I've seen it when it was released. I don't remember much because it's quite old, but it's good. It's really good. Why? Like, what made you?
You like Quiet Places about like aliens that don't hear, and that movie was about people who should not see. Like, that's like a strange relation I found.
This provoked two thoughts, because we're at the end of our hour. We need to end anyway. So I don't think we can start another big topic. So two thoughts. One, we are probably about to see a movie where you cannot speak. Like, for sure. If you will speak, you will die, because we now have you cannot. You cannot hear. You cannot hear. Sorry. Yes.
Oh, I see.
Yes.
I'm pretty sure there was some old movie where like people try not to hear some. It was a witch or something. I may be wrong.
You cannot see is here, you cannot speak is here, and I'm pretty sure you're right. By the way, Bird Box was not the first one. That's what my second thought. There was an interesting movie where the same concept. If you watch, it will kill you. In this case, it will make you insane, but in that particular case, it would kill you. I don't remember much about that. Do you?
No.
Anyway. Okay, do you have anything small to cover? Because we are 5 minutes below the hour, if you want to.
No, I think we're good.
Okay, I think it was a good show. We haven't touched base with so many topics, but it's nice that we don't have to prepare topics for the next one, because we have a lot of them. Thank you, everyone. Have an amazing rest of the weeks. We'll talk to you and see you in the same time, same place, hopefully next week.
Yes, bye-bye.